want to talk about today is Suicidal Night Goblins. Now, this really comes down to how you accept the charge, and is going to start with something that you're probably very familiar with, and then I'm going to move on to something that's a little bit more tricky that you probably haven't thought of unless you're sneaky and a bastard like me. And what this is let's start off with the common thing where you want to control the charge. So if you got your unit of Night Goblins and you got a unit coming in and you just gotta want to make sure that combat happens on your own turn. And the reason for this is so that you can control what magic is really in play, so that you can get the counters off. If that's the case, it can be a simple thing of just throwing up your Suicidal Night Goblin Big Boss. He's not going to have anything. He's just going to be a cheap 30-point Night Goblin Big Boss that's going to run in front of your unit, so that your opponent is going to have to charge that boss first, kill him, and then overrun into you, so that combat's not going to happen until next turn, in which case, like I said, you can either get off those spells that you really need, or you can counter flanking or whatever you have it. Now, that's something that's probably more obvious, suicidal, fun stuff, but that's something we see a lot of. Now, Night Goblins, however, can do something a little bit more sneaky and just another step past this. Now, let's say, for example, that you need to slow them down. You can't really have countering and all that stuff. Like, the real thing here is that you're going for shooting. You're not going to be a combat army. You're like how we talked about with the goblins last time, where you're more of a shooting army. So your big thing you need to do to beat this unit is to keep it out of combat long enough so that it can be hit by Foot of Gork, by war machines, and all these things. And even though you can have stuff like fast cav, they'll try and bait and things like that, you really have to watch out the risks because of how fast cav, you'll have to worry about it being shot the whole game before you put it into play. And then also, you have to worry about them, being able to redirect the charge, overrun into the unit. It's just, you don't have a lot of options that usually make it 100% guaranteed. But I'm going to tell you right now that there is actually something that is a fantastic, sneaky thing you can do. So, picture this situation. You got the unit coming in. Let's say it's a massive unit of warriors where you really need to get another turn of Foot of Gork smashing it to bits. And so you got your Night Goblins moving up. Well, on your turn, you're going to be running up that Suicidal Night Goblin Big Boss. Boom. Just kind of like before. And then, of course, you're unloading with your war machines, your Foot of Gork, all that stuff. Now, on his turn, he's going to be charging that Night Goblin Big Boss. And you're going to hold. But as soon as he gets into range, you're going to be within 8 inches. And you're going to be releasing your Fanatic. Now, when you release that Fanatic, your opponent is probably saying, like, okay, yeah, whatever, I'm used to this. This is piece of cake. Sure, kill a couple of my guys. But you're not aiming for the unit. You're aiming for your Night Goblin Big Boss. And what this is going to mean is that model is going to be killed in the phase. It's still going to be part of the movement phase, but you've already done all your declaring of your charges and everything. So this is happening after that. And what this really means then is that unit that charged them can't do anything else. You didn't destroy them in combat. You don't get an overrun. You're past the point where you can be passing your leadership to redirect. Best you can do is move your full movement that you rolled for your charge, and then you're forced to stay 1 inch away. Guaranteed. And you can always play with this in different ways, but it really can be that simple. And it's going to leave your opponent probably flipping through the book, trying to find some loophole that's going to let him redirect or overrun, but it's just not there. All the triggers that make these things happen have nothing to do with that point in the game. They just stop. And so what's going to happen next turn? Well, nothing. They're not in combat, so you get that extra turn of blasting them with magic and war machines. Very sneaky, and I bet you'd all love to do it, wouldn't you? So there you have it. Nice little suicidal trick. Go out and try it. You'll drive your opponents wild. Thanks. Bye.